Straight facts. He's back. Is what I was meant to say. There, Lee Gunner is here with me. How you doing, my friend? How are you?
I'm very good, mate. I'm very good. Good to be back. Big up to everyone in the chat. Apologies if you can hear noise in the background, but they've decided to come and cut the grass. So even though the patio doors are shut, you might still hear them cutting the grass.
How dare they not know that Straight Facts was moved to 3 p.m. today? How dare they?
I'll have to get onto El Presidente, mate, and get it sorted.
Give them a buzz, mate. It's a disgrace they didn't know our podcast was going on right now. It really is. But lots to delve into today for everyone who's tuning in. I want to say a big shout out to our title sponsor today, Fan Team. You can sign up to use what is an excellent fantasy football platform. Now it's free to join. There's some of their games are free to play. Some of the games you do pay to play in. You also win prizes. Check it out. The link in the live comment section and description below. But loads to delve into today. Mason Greenwood being fired from Nike, being sacked, which we're going to touch on. Rangnick exposing Man United players. Wolverhampton Wanderers testing of Arsenal. And I want to ask a question later in the show, so stay with us for this. Is Anthony Martial really good enough? Is the question I want to put out there to the audience and to Lee after his poor start in Spain. And I know everyone's going, Terry's got an agenda. Wait for what I'm going to say first before you think I've got an agenda, people. But stay with us for later on in the show. But yeah, where to start today? Where do you want to start, Lee? Where do you want to start?
Can we start with Martial?
We can start with Martial. Yeah, go on then.
Mate, he hasn't played football for how long? But I did find it funny that Lopetegui came out and said he needs to do more. I was like, right, he's only just got there. Yeah, he's only played like one game. He hasn't played for months, like properly. And but in a way, I suppose that's a good thing the managers came out and said that, because hopefully he does raise his game now. Yeah, and I think he is that type of player where it's okay. It's now new country, new football club, new manager, new players. Played my first game, it weren't great, and he's at a club that are currently second in the table, so he has to raise his game, because the idea of bringing him in is to see if they can push on for the title, because they're six behind the leaders. So I like Martial. Yeah, I didn't watch the game. Yeah, I heard it was boring. I heard it was a poor match, and he was poor. I think they play again on Friday. I might watch that one. But I don't really get, and I know you're not hating on him, but I don't really get the hate for him. I really don't. I genuinely do not get the hate for that guy. Right? He's been left in and out of the team. He's had, 4 different managers at United. Yeah, left in and out, played multiple positions. Now he's out on loan. The Man U fans are still hating on him. It's like, just leave him alone. He's not in your club anymore, mate.
It's crazy. So it works both ways for me. I think he's really talented. I think he's a really talented footballer. I think he's got the ability to. He had the technical ability to reach any level of football that he wants. He's that good, in my opinion. He really, really is. I hope he does well at Sevilla. I hope he does well at Sevilla and comes back to United and does well for us. Why would I want him to be world class elsewhere? That's a really weird thing to wish on one of your own players, even though he's on loan. What I found very interesting at the weekend is I wasn't watching the game until I saw a clip circulate. So I saw a clip circulate and somebody said, like, Martial is insane. And he did this good little skill and a flip up and a little trick. And I had to go and watch the game. And then I had to go and find what happened after. Because I was like, he lost the ball, didn't he? Like, I just knew that trick, it did. What proceeded after that is he messed up. And I then went and watched the game, and I thought he was poor overall. And I think that his manager at Sevilla was absolutely right to talk about, one, him needing more game time and needing more time to settle, needing to do more, but also they thought of course they think he's going to come good. They wouldn't be throwing over £200,000 a week at him if they didn't think he had the ability there. What I found really embarrassing was 2 sets of so-called Man United fans, some that were almost happy that he wasn't doing well, and then others that were like overplaying it, like they just watched the rebirth of R9. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you're both wrong. It was. Do you ever remember that thing that was viral before things went viral, called bum fights, where they used to pay like 2 homeless people to fight each other? Do you ever watch that, called bum fights? No. It was a show called Bum Fights. Just research it. These rich people used to go around and would pay them to fight each other. And this one guy, they paid him, and he had bum fights tattooed on his head. And it's madness show. Like, he'd never be able to make it now. But that's what it was like. It was like watching Martial FC versus anti-Martial FC is like watching bum fights. It's just watching. It's like, what am I doing? Why am I watching this? Why am I even watching them like go at each other? Like Martial is clearly good enough technically. This is a bit of an acid test for him though, because I think I'm intrigued to see what happens if he does do well and if he doesn't. If he does do well, Martial FC will say, we won. He's cooking. Let's have him back. Let's bring him back to Man. Because Martial FC want him to be at a bigger club than Sevilla, because if he's at a club like Man United, they get to elevate their guy more, right? They get to compare him against some of the best strikers in the world. If he's at Sevilla, they're kind of, who they're bantering? No one. They've got no one to chat to anymore. Like Martial FC are desperate for him to go to a bigger club. But equally, if he doesn't deliver that, if he doesn't improve, if he's still inconsistent there, then you're in a situation where I kind of want Man United to say, right, you've had that opportunity, move him on and almost just put the focus onto somebody else. And just almost at the weekend, watching Martial FC and anti-Martial FC like fight each other, I was like, I just don't want that at my club anymore. It's so nauseating to listen to and watch and tedious. And it's like, but my striker did this and my striker did. My brother, he ain't your anything. He don't know you. I don't he don't care one little bit about you. Do you know what I mean? It was just mad. And then I saw other players being brought up into I'm like, what's Rashford got to do with what Martial did today at Sevilla? What's Ahmad got to do with it? It's just like, let him cook. And the only embarrassing bit was a skill that went viral and he lost the ball straight after. I'm like, why do people do that all the time, man? It's crazy to me. But do you think he will come good though? Do you think he'll deliver to a point where Man United will want him back?
I think he'll deliver at Sevilla. I don't think he'll have him back though. I don't think he wants to be there. So if Sevilla's the only option, then and he does well, I can see him staying there. And listen, they're not a tiny little tin pot football club either. Let's not forget that. Yeah, just because they're not as big as Man United, don't mean they're not a big football club. Yeah, they're huge. Their European pedigree's insane, and they've had some of the best players ever play for them. Maradona played for them. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's mad. So listen, they're a real nice football club. I like their stadium. I like everything about them, and I've never been to their ground apart from outside of it, and I've walked around it. Yeah, and it's like, it's really, mate, it's so posh. Like it's like it looks tiny from the outside, but it holds like 50,000. Yeah, my friend lives there, and he said that when you're walking down the stairs in the stadium, like literally, if you ain't careful, you're literally just roly-poly down the stairs. It's like a vertical drop walking down to the seats. Yeah, but I'd love to go there and watch a game. And yeah, I think he'll do all right. I think he'll do all right. And I think he will stay in Spain, whether that be at Sevilla or whether that be, I don't know, somewhere else. I can see him staying in Spain. Yeah, why wouldn't you want to stay here? The weather's good. Yeah, he's not going to be made to feel uncomfortable, I don't think. Like, there's less pressure on him because it's not Man United. So why can't he flourish? Yeah, and he's good enough.
Yeah, do you know what? For me, right, I look at it from the point of view of, I think he's done at Man United as well. And I say that because it kind of brings into the next point. You've had a very candid interview or press conference really from Rangnick. And I don't watch press conferences. The only time I'll ever go back and watch it is if something's said that like kind of piques my interest. And there was the whole thing today, stroke yesterday, I only saw it today myself, about him being asked about Lingard's comments in about, well, I never said that I wasn't in the right headspace. It kind of very much echoed the Martial situation a few weeks ago, where Martial said that I never said that I wasn't available to play. For me, Martial and Lingard have both lied, or at the very least, they've been very economical with the truth. If I'm going to be really respectful, if that makes sense, they may not be lying because they probably didn't use the words "my headspace is bad," so they can say, "Well, I didn't say in my head." Do you get where I'm coming from? They can almost play semantics here. They didn't use those exact words, so they're not directly lying. But in real life, in reality, there's no way Rangnick's lying. Listening to him talk, he spoke with such authority when, I don't do the whole social media thing. I don't do if buts or maybes. I sit down and have direct conversations with people. And he literally said, I stand by what I've already said. So he has doubled down very calmly, very politely, and just said, essentially, these two players refused to play for Man United or said they weren't ready in the right headspace. And I think that tells you everything that you need to kind of know. And about with Martial, that's kind of why I want him to do well, because if he flops, I don't think, even if he does well, I think people have got this, even I have this dream of if he does well, he might come back and reignite himself. He doesn't want to be at Man United. I think Martial FC have got to understand he doesn't want to be at your football club. That's first and foremost. So I need him to do well, because then he'll get the move. Because if he's stuck in our dressing room next year when he doesn't want to be there and no one wants to drop 250 grand a week on him, it's another problem that we've got to manage, if that makes sense. So I really want him.
I don't think he'll want 200. Well, listen, everyone would want 250 grand a week. I don't think he'll be demanding that. Like, if he goes somewhere else. Like we've seen Adama Traore reject 150 grand a week to take 15 grand a week at Barca.
True.
Do you know what I'm saying? So listen, Martial's a multi-millionaire. I'm sure his life's very comfortable. Like, what's an extra 100 grand a week to somebody who's a millionaire and their life's comfortable and you've got enough money to survive for the rest of your life? You know, you're just doing it for greed at that point. So depends whether he's greedy or whether he wants to play football, doesn't it? And not only that, their top goal scorer this season, I think, is on 6 goals. So he ain't got really a great deal of competition to be the top boy there, is he? Because if he smashes 6 goals between now and the end of the season, the other guy don't score any, he's joint top scorer. So I think he'll do all right, man. Listen, that league is not great. Yeah, he didn't have a great game, but the top of the league's pretty decent. Real Betis are up there as well this season, albeit Villarreal beat them the weekend. Then you've got Barca slapping Atletico. They've fallen off a cliff, that Atletico. And then you've got Villarreal not far behind them. So there's like 7 teams that could all get into that top 4. Yeah, it's mad.
Barca have just started to play quite well, haven't they? Like, I was looking at their results, and I haven't seen all the performances. But I was looking at
Xavi's got them rocking, man. They're playing good football. But they've got a couple of their players back from injury. Garcia's just come back into training as well. The lad that used to be at City. Aubameyang's there. Adama played well on his debut. So yeah, Barca are starting to push up there. They ain't going to win the league this season, but I don't think they'll win it next season either. But another 2 years maybe. They need a couple more decent players in midfield, I think. It's the kids they've got in midfield, they're quality, but they're kids. Do you know what I mean? You need a couple of experienced ones in there, really. I know Busquets is still there, but you need something going forward that's got a bit more experience.
Mate, I hear you completely, and I think that it's you know, he's got a great opportunity there. I think what's really, by the way, people that have said miss your super chats, we won't just do the super chats randomly in the middle of a conversation. They're starred and they'll be used later, so just bear with us and be patient, please. But thank you very much. I kind of feel like he needs to do it, but I'm also glad to see Ralf calling these players out as well, because it's interesting. Like, I've not been happy with certain performances from Manchester United as of late, especially at the weekend. But I am happy with Ralf, and not so much as him as the manager. We need a better manager and coach than him. But just in terms of, I know he knows how to run a football club, if you get where I'm coming from. And the way, like, he's just handled the Lingard and the Martial situation is perfect. He hasn't become toxic like we saw Jose Mourinho do. Start chatting nonsense, throwing people under buses. He's kept cool, calm, and collected, and just been like, yeah, I know what I've said. I know what I'm saying is right. I'm going to stand by it. All he now needs is the club to kind of back him, which was also really interesting that he came out, and it was the best thing that he said since he's been here. I can see why this club, basically saying, I can see why this club hasn't won a trophy, like a title in 10 years. And it was great. It was great to see. And I love the fact that he's exposing the players and is exposing the club in the right way. He isn't airing the dirty linen. He isn't explaining in intricate detail what the problems are, but he's letting us know that he knows. And that's how you do it. It's a subtle way.
Because then the pressure's off of him, because he's put it out there to the fans, and the fans make the football club. So if the fans are thinking it's him, but he's saying, look, there's a reason this club ain't won for 10 years. Yeah, people then go, oh, hang on a minute. The players, the people above that, etc., etc. Listen, I watched you lot on the highlights. I didn't watch the game live. You lot are crap. Like, honestly, you lot are rubbish, man. You're rubbish. Like, you're actually worse than Arsenal. Yeah, and I said this yesterday on the show that I did. Like, I think Man United, you've got serious problems at that club, mate. Serious problems. And the reason I think you're worse than Arsenal is because you're a bigger football club with better footballers. Yeah, over the course of the whole squad, you've got better footballers, and you're performing nowhere near that level that you've got. Whereas Arsenal, we're not that great, and we're performing not that great. Do you know what I mean? So the gap between Man United's talent and where you are is bigger than where Arsenal. And do you know what I'm saying?
I agree, mate. I agree in large parts. We're not. Interestingly, the game against Borough, we played well, just didn't finish, and then we lost our heads again. But on Ralph's point, he's right to point it out. Every time we've gone through a new Ollie in, Ollie out, Jose in, Jose out, LVG in, LVG out, I've sat there beating my lone drum, saying we're moaning about the same things as the previous 1, 2, 3, 4 managers. There's a reason that we haven't won for 10 years. People were like, oh, Ollie's the reason we're not winning right now. This time last year, the rhetoric was, if we'd sacked Ollie and brought in Poch, this Man United squad team club would have won the league. That is what was being said. When Jose was struggling, just before he was sacked, it was, if we had a top manager, this squad would win the league. Ollie came in and did well for a few months. Everybody said, see, I told you, with this squad, we'd win the league. With LVG's squad, we all said, when Jose arrived, yes, he'll make this squad cook, we'll win the league. Every single time a new manager comes in, we think that's problem solved. And then the same problems ensue. Poor signings, bad sales, lack of discipline, player power issues. And it's why sometimes I sit there and I've kind of been sitting back and thinking to myself, I understand moaning about managers on specific games and this player isn't good enough. But when I sort of sit there and listen to people explain why they think it's going wrong, there's never any focus on the deeper problem. Ralf has now put it out there, plain as day for me, to say the way we operate as a football club is the problem. Right down to things like, and I know that certain people love these two players, but the way Martial and Rashford have spoke out, lied publicly, these are part of the reasons why we will never be successful as a football club, because at the elite end of the spectrum, inches matter. And the difference between players are willing to do that to their club, are they going to run that extra bit more to win gold? Or do you think Man City are going to do that? Where I guarantee you Pep Guardiola pisses off his players every bit as much as a Man United manager does.
Probably worse.
Maybe worse, but they keep it internal because actually they know they want to go out there and win. You're never happy. I've had great bosses who I've worked very well for. They've pissed me off, though, made me angry, but I had enough respect for them and the organization that I worked for to ensure that I behaved with some distinction, with a little bit of decorum. And that's gone from Man United. And I think that being exposed by Ralf, it isn't the biggest talking point. The biggest talking point is the players lied. And I'm like, why don't you look beyond that? It's what's behind that. If we fix that, Man United will be back. And we saw the stats. 1.5 billion euros spent on players since 2013. Pretty much in the ballpark with City, PSG, Real Madrid.
And you've got McFred as a midfield double pivot.
Exactly. And do you know the
that's nearly as bad as Xhaka and Party.
The scariest bit of all of that, the scariest part of that, right, is, and the bit that made me laugh the most is when you actually sort of delve into it. Only raised in that time period around 400 million in this 400 million euros in the sale of players. And some people are like, well, I thought that spend wasn't real. I'm like, it isn't in the basic sense.
It's not in terms of transfer. In terms of your football club as a whole, it is.
But the point is, it matters still in terms of if you've got a 40 million pound player you let go for 7 million, you've lost money. Where are you reinvesting that? Why are we losing these players so cheaply? When you look at Chelsea as an example, Chelsea have spent more than Man United by about 65, 70 million euros in that time. But you know how much money Chelsea have raised through player sales and loan fees in that same time? 1.2 billion. So, but but they're able to win still. Do you know, it's also crazy. Arsenal have spent £1 billion in that time.
But apparently we can't compete, Terry.
He spent £1 billion. He spent £1 billion.
How much did we recoup?
Less than Man United, actually, 446 million.
So you actually keep letting your best players go for free.
Yeah. It's one of them. But I'm just glad it's being exposed now, because at the end of the day, like I've said, Man United spend and we spend a lot. I gave this story on the show earlier, and I'm going to give this story again. My friend, I'm not going to say his name in case he's watching. His dad was rich. His dad used to be was in a very popular 80s band, made loads of money, royalties, and then he became like an agent in the entertainment world. And he used to live on the same area that when I moved to Essex, he lived in this area. And this house, bruv, I'm from a poor family. You go to someone's house that's just immaculate, clean, tidy, white paint, like 3 spare rooms. I was like, this is
Take your shoes off as you come in.
Yeah. Used to go into the garage and they had all these fridges, and these fridges were full of like Bacardi breezes and beers and food, the kitchen full of food. His dad would leave him every night with £100 that he could order takeaway with. And we were like, you're so lucky. I was so jealous of this kid. And as I got older, I realized this kid had all this money, had all these nice things, but all he wanted was his dad to be at home. And that's Man United. Man United.
Do you know what? That is actually spot on, right? Because you'll see somebody with a Lamborghini or a Rolls Royce, and you'll think, oh, mate, I really wish I had that. But that guy could want to drive it straight into a brick wall because he might not be happy. Do you know what I'm saying? It's all relative, isn't it? It's like, what makes some people happy doesn't make other people happy. And you're right, because that is like Man United. Yeah, you've got everything, but you haven't, if that makes sense. You've got everything there to be the best team in the world.
It's true. Bruv, and do you know what's funny here? Sharek here with a comment says, did you order takeaways? Well, this is the maddest thing. The crazy thing was, I quite liked the guy, right? So I quite liked him.
So you were just nicking his money.
But quite a few people that would come round didn't like him. But I'm like, why are you here then? He's like, bruv, he orders pizza and he orders Chinese and we get to sit and eat. Like, the point is, what do you create? Mercenaries. This guy's home life reminds me of Man United. We just throw money at the situation. We create mercenaries. There's no real structure. There's a deep unhappiness within the football club, and it doesn't yield the results that you want. So when I hear people go, yeah, but you spend money, I'm like, that's amazing, but we're wasting it. Like, wasting the money and not focus on the real problems is the issue. And I'm just really glad that Rangnick has come out and he's exposed it. And hopefully it's almost a bit like you hear like alcoholics will say things like admitting you're an alcoholic is the first step to recovery. Like, but there's nothing there aimed at you or me. I know we both like a bit of a drink, but
oh mate, yeah, but apparently I am an alcoholic, according to half my chat.
I found interesting on social media. I don't know
I'll
why.
drink to that, Tell.
Well, I'm on a smoothie right now. I'm on a smoothie with. It's got some weird stuff in it. I put some.
It's the only one I've got. I need to go and get some.
Put some kale in this. I've got kale in this. I've got.
Look at you going all healthy. Who are you trying to impress? You're getting your hair done. You're drinking fresh juice. Like, who are you trying to impress?
It is, right. So for me, it's one of these things where, like, on socials though, do you notice with alcohol? I don't know where I think it's because I'm English. People see me having a couple of drinks and their instant thought is you're a drunk. It's like, you can have a drink without being a drunk.
Because you're English, mate. Brexit FC.
It's
what
mad.
it is. You have a beer and you Brexit straight away.
I mean, fair enough. I am having the thing is, I am having a beer with my breakfast. Maybe that's the problem. One thing I do like, you can always tell, when you go on holiday, right? You can always tell where the Brits are because it'll be about 8 in the morning. You look around at all the different tables. You could be anywhere in the world, Mexico. You could be in the Seychelles. You look at all the tables. You always see the Brit because the Brit's having these eggs and his bacon, and he's got a pint already, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Do you know what I mean? I love it. I absolutely love it. It makes you always spot a Brit, always smell, always can see him, irrespective. But yeah, I'm glad it's being exposed at Man United. I really, really am. We've got some super chats here we're going to do. Interesting one here. It says, Liverpool fans think they are doing well, but they are no better than Leicester City. Laughing my ass off. Winning every 30 years doesn't make them a big club, is what Don Juan Salary's assistant merchant says.
Liverpool?
Yeah, it's random, isn't it?
Wow.
Quite a few people here asking, Terry, I have pets and dogs and cats, Terry, and the video makes me feel really sick to my stomach because a massive pet, obviously talking about Kurt ZOUMA. Quite a few people here are talking about Kurt ZOUMA and what I mean, that was, I assume you've seen the video of what Kurt ZOUMA did.
I see he was trending. I was like, let me see why Kurt ZOUMA's trending. I thought, what's happened now? Yeah, and then I see it. I was like, oh my days. You have literally you've gone and found it in your house. You've picked it up and drop kicked it. Not once, but twice. That's not the first 2 times he's done that. And I've seen enough people in this chat saying, oh, yeah, but you know, spiders are getting killed, and you kill spiders, so why can't you kick a cat? You lot are tapped. Like, you lot are tapped.
Well, my in fairness, if I killed a spider, my dad would still give me a clip round the ear roll now. But do you know what's mad about it is this, right? It's horrible what he did. Like, and I think he deserves to be punished because I'm an animal lover, and they are still living creatures. But I've seen people like, and I laugh when I say this because it's so outrageous. Yeah, but it ain't like it's as bad as what Greenwood did. And I'm like, hang on a minute, hang on. Like, step back. I agree with you. It isn't as bad, of course. However, it doesn't mean anything that's now done by a footballer that's not as bad as Greenwood's actions is acceptable. It's like you can still condemn and have a go at ZOUMA, but think someone else did something worse. Society's become so polarized and binary. It's like, well, it's not as bad as what another player at another club did, therefore we shouldn't condemn it. What? It's almost like, well, I only killed one person, he killed 3, therefore my murder don't matter, does it? That's how it sounds. That's how dumb these people sound to me. And yeah, like, I know West Ham released a statement. For me, they should just be, for me, would I say sack him? I don't know. Some people would say he's got to be sacked for that. Like, some people would legitimately say he's got to be sacked for that. There's no doubt.
The police, the thing is, I see your post that you, I think it was you. I think it was you that put a post out on Insta. Maybe it weren't. And I thought, oh, let me go and see what's going on here. Yeah, because it was something about the police weren't investigating it. So I thought, oh, let me go and search on Twitter, and I go trending. I see he was trending #1. I thought, oh, what the hell has gone on here, man? Yeah, and I see the video, and I watched it the second time. I was like, is this geezer for real? Like, honestly, why would you have a cat if you're going to do that to it? Like, what is your problem?
It's the kind of thing that you would expect to, again, you'd see children do. You'd see a kid like show off to his friends and do whatever. You know, I've seen videos like that before, but it's just like, it's outrageous what he did.
There's enough people in this chat that go, no, it's only a cat. I mean, it's only a cat. It's a defensive little animal that he's supposed to be looking after in his house. Yeah, and he's literally picked it up and drop-kicked it like he's a goalkeeper.
Do you know what, madly?
Like, come on, man.
People that say it's only just a cat. See, this is what I would do, right? Honestly, I don't really like this government, but I am kind of addressing them. Give me a budget. And whenever people write comments like that or tweet things like that, that should be where you start an investigation into the minds of these people. Like, anyone who tweets like it's only a cat, the government should be straight on them, through their bins, watching them with the telescopes. These are deviant people. These are problem people. Anyone who just thinks it's only a cat, I don't know. I'm going to say this bluntly. There's something wrong with you. You are not wired right if you look at that and go, it's just an animal, it's just a cat, or it's just a dog.
But then people who have the argument, Terry, which a lot of them are in the chat earlier on when we were chatting. But yeah, you eat animals, you'll eat chicken. So what's the difference? Yeah, it's not like he killed the cat. That's what people are saying in the chat, mate.
But this is the thing, isn't it? So I do eat meat, and I'm not a hypocrite. However, do I want to see? If I saw a farmer kicking his cow in the head, I would be annoyed still. Like, me eating beef doesn't mean it's okay to kick cows in the head. And it's the weirdest sentence I've ever said in my life. You know,
you're not even drunk.
I know. Who knew? This is what I don't understand about people. It's this weird, yeah, but you eat beef burgers, therefore it's okay for ZOUMA to toe punt his cat in the head. What? That is.
Mate, I can't believe they're not investigating that. Honestly, I can't believe that. Yeah, I know that. Like, he'll have what's it called? The RSPCA will be on his case now. Yeah, but I don't know how it works. If they go and knock on his door and say, we want your cat, and he tells them bugger off, and that's it then, isn't it?
I'm sorry, that line is, we want your cat.
If we want your cat, and he says go away, well, the police ain't getting involved, so surely they can't do anything.
Well, I think if the RSPCA turn up to take the cat and he doesn't let them in, the police would. I think the police are just not The thing is, I understand why the police are not investigating. They don't really have the resources. They don't have the resources to catch serious crime, as in like the creme de la creme of criminals. So they probably just, they didn't even investigate, what Parliament did wrong. But like, yeah, I'm always concerned about the public's response to it more than I am the police. And I look at it and I'm seeing people like, yeah, but it's only a cat. One guy messaged a tweet, he just yeah, but it ain't like it was a dog. I'm like, what? Honestly, these people.
What is wrong with people, man?
They should all be. These are the people that honestly, the government could lock up so many weird people just by investigating people that have these kind of thoughts. Like it's a craziness to me. You don't even need to be an animal lover to realize it's bad.
Mate, do you know what? I don't particularly like cats. Yeah, I think they're sly. Yeah, 1 minute they're purring and cuddling up to you, next minute, yeah, I don't like them.
So I'm the other way, right? I love dogs. I've had dogs my whole life.
See, I prefer dogs. I've pulled enough of them in my time.
Oh, mate, it's very sexist. It's very. You get cancelled for that. You'll get cancelled. I love a cat because cats like they've got this independent nature about themselves, and if they want to be affectionate, they will. If they want to like be aggressive, they will. If they want to stick their ass in your face, they go boom and they do it. I love how they're like, I am me, and I almost love as well how they're like completely domesticated until a bird or like a hamster comes in the room, and then they're straight back to their instincts, and they make that weird. But they make this weird clicking noise, right? And I go mental. I love cats. I absolutely love a cat.
Yes, not
cats
for me,
ones.
Not for me. Not for me, mate.
But you know what? I had 3 of them. I had 3, and I was very particular. I taught them well. No litter tray in the house. Taught them all to go outside. I had 3 cats. I'm a liar. I had 4. I had Bobby, Bella, Buttons, and Wazza. The oldest was named after Wayne Rooney. Called Wazza was his name. Yeah.
Oh, you're mad. But no, I don't particularly like him. But when you see that, mate, that's horrible. Yeah, it's horrible what he's done.
Yeah, no, of course, he's a madman for it, and I hope he gets a proper punishment for it, and fine at least something, do something. Yeah, I mean, the one thing I will say that is worrying is they often say that people that commit proper cruelty to animals have a tendency to do it to develop that into other areas as well. So like I've read those things. I'm not a clinical psychologist, but it needs to be looked at. What are your thoughts on Pep signing a new deal?
Is it official?
It's starting to pick up pace that this deal could be happening.
Well, that's the Premier League turned into a farmers' league for the next 4 years. Then that's game over for everyone, isn't it? Really? Yeah, that's it. It's done. It's finished. Well done, Man City. My loan might have to be permanent after this season. I can't lie.
Yeah, I did a video on it yesterday. If he stays at City for another 4 or 5 years, yeah, I don't think they'll win the league every year, but the dynasty that he's going to create is going to be astronomically good.
If he's there for 5 years, he'll win at least 3. At least 3. And
you got to remember as well, like I think that when they win the title this year, they now have more league titles than Chelsea. They're gaining. They could catch Arsenal's 13, I think, because I think this year they're going to get to 8. They could easily get to 13, 14 by the end of Pep's time.
I think they're on 6, aren't they?
No, I think they've got 7 league titles in total.
Yeah. Oh, so they're already ahead of Chelsea then.
Yeah, maybe they do.
Chelsea on 6, I think.
Let's check this. Most league titles.
Yeah, Chelsea are level with Sunderland on 6, I think.
I could be really wrong. Let me check here. League titles. Man City have. Yeah, Man City have got 7. They're level with Aston Villa. So they're 2 behind. They're 5 behind Arsenal. If Pep stays for another 4 or 5 years, they could, because they're going to get, most think they're probably going to have 8 by the end of the season. So they'll be 5 behind Arsenal. They could be in and around it. They could be in and around Arsenal by that point if he stays, in and around.
Yeah, well, we ain't winning one anytime soon. So yeah,
probably not.
If he wins it this season, which I think he will, and then he stays for 5 more years, they'll win at least 3 after that.
Yeah, which will put them on 11.
I'll put them on 11. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Trust the process, Tel. Trust the process.
They're coming real quick. They're coming really, really quick in relation to that. Someone just put something in the comment section that I need to go and check.
Yeah, I've just seen that. I'm Googling it as we speak.
There's nothing out there.
Nah.
Nothing on socials. Someone just says it's Gaza died, and I'm like, oh, hang on. No, there's nothing. Well, there's nothing on socials right now. I was like, oh no. But there we go. One of them ones. United are so dead. Not even a necromancer would be able to bring them back. I can't believe I read that, was able to read that word. But how long will it take United fans to realize it? Oh, mate, Man United fans are never going to realize it because we all buy into the PR hype. We all get sucked in. We're going to bring the right manager in. The only time we'll be back is if we listen to Ralf, and it's going to take 2 or 3 years. But I ain't believing
it. The only way you'll be back is if you've been 95% of your fan base.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's true. Well, they're always out there buying stuff, yeah, and putting the propaganda out for the club every day on socials. You're finished. Same as Arsenal.
Terry and Lee both kick ass. Some seem to hate you both. I'd like to think it's more Morecambe and Wise.
I genuinely couldn't care less if people don't like me because I'm still doing what I'm doing every day.
There we go.
Hi, Terry.
Hi, Terry and Lee. Best wishes to both of you currently watching from outside the Echo Power Stadium ahead of Doncaster versus Ipswich this evening.
Ooh,
well, enjoy that game tonight.
What club's that's Doncaster Stadium, yeah?
He supports Doncaster, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Big up, man. Big up to you. My parents used to live not far from Doncaster, actually. Yeah.
I guarantee he wouldn't kick a lion or tiger. No, of course he wouldn't kick a lion. Yeah, that should be the punishment, actually. If you kick a dog, you have to go and
we're going to take you and put you in that cage with that lion and that tiger. And let's see you go and kick that big man.
Like the species the same time. If you kick a dog, you get put into a pen with a pack of wolves. If you kick a dog, it's like, right, we put you in London Zoo with the lion, and now go kick that cat and see how much you like it. Do you know what I mean? It very much like, pick on someone your own size. Like, Don One says, let's all go vegan.
No.
I'm not going vegan, but thank you.
I do like some vegan food, to be fair, but I couldn't go full-time vegan. Not for me. I know a lot of people that are, but not for me. I do like some of the food they eat.
I do get that, because there are cultures and countries where pets are not allowed, so they have a different connection or meaning of animals and grow up differently. Just saying.
Why have the cat in the first place?
Yeah, why buy a pet? If you're from a nation where pets are like looked at in a particular way, you don't get a pet. Secondly, here it's illegal. So I'm one of these people that believe, like, if I move to another country and there's an action that's legal in England that's illegal in that country. So when you go to Dubai, I believe that you can't walk in the street holding hands and cuddling with someone who's not your wife. Is that right? Something like that. I might have got that a little wrong, but
you're not allowed. I don't think you're allowed to be seen in public with alcohol. I think that's a law in Dubai.
Okay, so
and I think you're not allowed to kiss publicly.
So that might be.
I know what you're trying to say. Yeah. You're not allowed to.
So whatever that law is, the point is, just because it's legal in England doesn't mean that I should be able to go to another country and go, well, I can do it in my country. It doesn't matter what you're allowed to do in X country. You cannot kick animals here. And your point was bang on. Why get one then? Like, why get one? I'm sorry, Zaza, there's no excuse for Kurt Zouma that can be made that's justifiable, in my opinion. The RFPCA have to take the cat away from him.
Yep.
ASAP. They definitely. I cannot believe we're on the football terrace talking about cats, bruv. Like, this is.
Hey, did he not watch that fucking Netflix series? Don't fuck with cats. Did he not watch that?
That show was mad. Did you watch?
Mate, that was crazy. I can't lie, that was off key, mate.
I guessed straight away that guy was weird. Like,
yeah.
I kind of knew that guy was a bit of a wrong one, but that thing got deep.
Yeah, proper deep. That was mental, mate.
Yeah, like, yeah, I can't believe people do stuff like that. Like, I have watched those videos and seen those videos before where people have like fed animals to like snakes and stuff. And it's almost been a bit like, as long as it's a natural food for the snake, again, I can kind of get it. Like, if you give a snake that eats rabbits, I don't feel like it's bad. But given, like, kittens are not part of the diet of a snake. Like, they're not. You don't need to do that. It's a madness to me. But maybe I'm wrong. Right, we have some more super chats here. Loads coming in. There's a striker at Doncaster Rovers have bought in from Leon, who ripped it up in the Spurs Academy. Sorry, Lee. Called Rio Griffiths. Name to remember is what he said there.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Give Arteta the new deal to stop City coming in is what John thinks you should do.
Oh dear, good job John's not paid to think. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, I don't want Arteta getting a new deal. Yeah, the only deal I want to see is that we've terminated his contract. Yeah, and that's the deal that needs to happen. Big up Joel Linton. He's always in my chat, that guy.
Joel Linton. Someone here said rabbits are not. I said, okay, if rabbits, again, this is, I learned something. If rabbits are not part of a snake's diet, then they shouldn't be fed to them either. It should just be what's. I know mice are, right? I know mice definitely. I've seen it on where they've got them. They don't really hiss either, though, did I? used to have snakes as well. I used to have snakes. I used to have garter snakes. I used to eat goldfish. I used to eat fish.
You're crazy.
They used to
I bet you've had a tarantula or something in your time as well. You seem like that.
Tarantulas, lizards, snakes.
Yeah, I knew it. Yeah. As soon as you said snake, yeah. But I remember, right? I knocked on this woman's door in Northampton, massive Edwardian house, yeah, really big, massive house. She was married to a Turkish guy, English woman. She met him on holiday, right? But her mum passed away and left the house. And she turned it into a spider and snake sanctuary in Northampton, right? And I remember we sold her windows, the company I worked for at the time. Right? I didn't know it was a spider and snake sanctuary when I've knocked on the door. When the job's being fitted, I've gone back. She goes, "Oh, come in." She's opened the door, and I don't know what the snake was called. It was about 35 foot long, and it was as thick as this, yeah. And every hair on my body stood up. I'm worried now talking about it. She goes, yeah, it's a snake and spider sanctuary. I've got loads. She goes, do you want to come and see the spiders? Mate, she had this birdie in spider. Yeah, I had to get out of the house in the end. Yeah, I said, you ever lost a snake? She goes, yeah, we lost one when it was like this big. And then we found it when it was like this big. I was like,
so
how could you live like that, man? Nah.
The maddest thing was, right, so I had these two garter snakes.
Oh.
And one of them got pregnant, and she became very aggressive when she got pregnant, very aggressive. And we were going on like a family holiday, and I had to get her out the vivarium and we used to put them in these bags, and you take them to like a place that would look after them when you were away. And I had her in my hand, and she bit me about 6 times. Right? Like my hand, the blood was. I was only about 11, and I dropped it, and it went off. And then I just had to like finesse it, and then told my dad later in the day. I was like, "Yeah, I took it to the vivarium, whatever." And then I told my dad that it died because like, I don't know where it went. I don't know where it was living. And there's part of me that was like, one day we didn't see him moving about a year later. But I always wonder at some point somewhere that snake must have scared the living daylights out of someone, because it wasn't like a grass snake. This thing was big, and a big orange line that went down its back. I dropped it, and it went, and it's gone, and I lost it. I never got it back.
Spiders and snakes, mate. That's the reason I've never been to Australia. And my auntie lived there for 20 years. Never went. Yeah, never. Spiders and snakes, not for me, mate.
I'm weird like that. I wouldn't have them now. I've actually grown more of a phobia towards them as I've got older. As a kid, like I loved it. I used to love that sort of stuff.
Imagine living in Australia and you have to check under your pillow before you get in bed in case there's a black widow there or something. Do you know what I mean? Like,
so a lot of my family are Australian. So my nan.
Somebody in the chat said, "Is this the animal terrace?"
So my nan, obviously from the East End of London, her and all her brothers were evacuated to Australia during World War II. So they got put on boats and they got sent there, and they lived there for years. A lot of her family stayed. So I've had an open-ended invitation to go there, and my whole life, and I could go there now if I wanted to, you know. And the one thing that always put me off is that, and it's so sad. Like, I speak to my cousins and like uncles and great uncles out there.
Love to go there, mate.
They're just like, one of my uncles was like, I've lived here. I'm not going to do his accent. He's like, I've lived here my whole life. And he says, I've seen like one of this and one of these. Like, he literally, like, I've never seen a black widow spider.
Yeah, but you know that when you get there, you'll be the one that has one in your bed.
I'm getting bit on my ass at 3 a.m, 100%.
When my auntie first lived there, she's dead now, bless her, yeah, right. But when she first moved there, they lived in like just outside of Perth. And there was like 5 houses in about 10 kilometers, land everywhere, right? And she was only about 4'10", my aunt. And she was hanging the washing out one day. And as she's turned around to go back in with the empty wash basket, she said there was this blue iguana taller than me just staring at me. I was like, fuck.
Right. Yeah, that's
I was like, nah, 5-foot iguana in your back garden. I'm never coming there.
I ain't about that life. I'm not about it, bro. Like, again, it's certain parts of the States. So a few years back, I was in America, and I was visiting some friends, and we were in Pennsylvania. And I said, we're going to go for a bit of a hike. And the woods, we drove through it on the way there. And it was like mountains and rivers and these tall trees, like what you see in American films. And I'm like, oh, wow, I'd love to I'm not really a hiker, but I was like, I'd love to go and see it, right? And I was all up for it. They gave me some boots, and I was getting ready, dressed, and then I heard like, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, getting guns ready. I said, why do we need guns to go hiking? And then they named like 3 different animals that are in those woods that could just kill us all. And I was like, oh, I don't want to go now. I was like, what? I ain't going. Like, again, that's what I love about England. Like, you can go walking in our woods. You're not getting mauled by any animals. There's nothing overtly poisonous. That literally you're fine. In everywhere else, it's sort of like, yeah, this can kill you, that can kill you.
Yeah, can you imagine going for a walk through the woods in Australia, mate? Next thing, there's a snake, straight on it. There's a spider. Yeah, then there's a kangaroo running down the road. Like, nah, mate, sod that.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Give me
big up to anybody who lives in Australia. Big up to all of them people that live there, mate.
Bro, all I'm gonna say is like, just keep me with my pigeons, my magpies, and my little urban foxes, brother. I'm happy. That's that dangerous one.
That's about all you see is foxes, really, and badgers, maybe in England.
Yeah,
really, isn't it?
mainly I only ever see badgers dead on the road. I don't ever see live badgers.
No, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Although
foxes, I used to see quite a bit where I used to live.
I've got a toonie owl that lives in the tree in front of my house. A big toonie owl that keeps me up most nights. Ooh. It's very
annoying, mate. I get the odd bat flying around here at night. That's it. That's about it. And then the cockroaches in the summer. Oh my days, mate. I'm petrified of cockroaches. The female ones fly at you, Terry.
Bro,
yeah, they fly at you.
I lived in this house once in East London. It was real bad cockroach infestation. And we called, like, I had this plan with my bank account where you could call like exterminators, and they turned up and they were looking around the house. They put traps down. They said, look, based on where they are, the infestation looks like it's next door. So we were like, I said, look, could you go sort next door out and just say that it was here so that it's gone? Knocked on the guy. People next door are lovely. We got on them very well. Knocked on the door. Said, hello, mate. I said, blah, 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 blah. Would you mind if the guy came in and basically got rid of the cockroaches? And the guy was like, in fairness, we're not that bothered. They're a lot smaller than the ones than we're used to. So we're just going to put up with them. I was like, what's wrong with you? They're cockroaches. And then and in the end, we convinced them, and he moved the fridge. It was like a stampede. And I'm like, how do you live in a house like this?
Nah.
Honestly, yeah, that was a madness.
I've got this spray, yeah, right? It's called Raid spray. And I don't know what's in it. It smells like, Pledge polish that you can spray your sides with and you polish your sides up, yeah? It smells identical. I have no idea what is in it, yeah? But whenever I see a cockroach, I just go, psh, instant, gone. Yeah, people go, oh, but you can't kick cats, but you can kill a cockroach. Watch every people in the chat now. Mate, yeah. I don't care. I'm fighting for my life, mate, when there's a cockroach coming out.
Kill a cockroach, cancel them. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine being banned off social media platforms? Can you kill a cockroach?
Hey, people in the chat are saying cockroach that flies. Mate, I remember in my last apartment, this apartment's cool. Like, this apartment's miles better than that one, and this is not near, it's got 2 restaurants at the bottom of the road, but the other place, one of the restaurants was a bit iffy, and I think they were coming from there. That last gaff I lived in, I remember going for a shower one night, and I pulled the curtain back, and it was just there looking at me, and I was like, what do? I've got, I had a bottle of bleach, just neat bleach, yeah? And I had a squirty little bottle. So I poured all the kitchen cleaner out and poured bleach in it so I could spray this cockroach with bleach.
Yeah. So,
right? And it started flying at me. And I had to get the next door neighbor. This is at midnight, right? I've only just moved here at this point. I had to get the next door neighbor to come and grab it. Yeah. And he picked it up in a tissue. Yeah. I couldn't speak Spanish. He can't speak English. Yeah, and he come and got it. I said, mate, take it all the way down the end of the bloody road. Yeah, I used to see loads there. I've seen 2 in this place. Yeah, in 7 months that I've been here, 2. And one of them was just a tiny little thing. But don't ever stamp on a cockroach. Don't ever stand on one. Yeah, because if it's pregnant, yeah, all the babies are stick to your foot and you're traipsing them around your house and they still grow. Yeah, and that's when you get infested.
So someone here said about the flying. So there are 4 different types of cockroach that fly.
Oh, don't. Nah, stop it, man.
The Asian cockroach, the brown cockroach, the smoky brown, and the wood roaches. So anyone that says they don't exist, I just Googled it. They do. Or according to Google, they do. But there we go. Speaking of cockroaches, Mason Greenwood has been sacked by
a seamless link.
I know, I'm good, aren't I? He's been sacked by Nike. Surprised by that? Is it too early? Is it the right thing? Are you surprised that he hasn't been charged yet? Like, kind of feels like he's gone a bit quiet on the Greenwood front.
I'm shocked he got out on bail, if I'm honest. But money obviously talks. And that's probably why he's got out on bail. Yeah, because if that was you or I, we wouldn't be out on bail. Yeah, we'd be held on remand, mate, 100%. Yeah, because it's Mason Greenwood and he plays for Man United. He's out on bail. Yeah, I think it's disgusting they've let him out. Yeah, and well done to Nike for binning him. Yeah, hopefully everyone bins him. Yeah, it's disgusting what he's done, man. Disgusting. You shouldn't do that to any woman, man. You shouldn't do that to anyone, let alone a woman. Like, it's just wrong. And everyone that, like, I see a story the other day. Well, I didn't read it because I knew the headline was either bullshit or Man United players are just idiots. And it said Man United players are outraged at the way Greenwood's been treated. I was like, I ain't even reading that because I'll just get angry.
Do you know what? I read that. My view is this: if you're that angry about it because you think he's being mistreated, I'd only respect your opinion on that if you publicly said it. Do you get where I'm coming from? If you've got like, I don't mean I wouldn't respect what you're saying, but I'd say, well, at least you believe in it. It seems a little bit underhand. I was reading a great article though in The Athletic that was like, can Man United sack Greenwood? And I implore people to read this. It's by a guy called Matt Slater. What's going to be really interesting is Sunday and Monday in this case, because Man United are only legally allowed to suspend him for 14 days. So that essentially takes it like that. That's the rules written. The only way that he can be suspended longer is if the player agrees. So if the player says, I am happy to be suspended, then they can continue the suspension a little bit further. Yeah, so it says here, under the terms of the standard Premier League contract, which has been in place since 2003, clubs can only suspend players for a maximum of 14 days. It is a 2-week suspension with full pay with a disciplinary process undertaken. Yeah, it says once that's complete, he could come back in. Given the severity of the allegations, of course, this is written by a lawyer, so it's very well written. It says he probably would agree not to, but technically he would be allowed to, and Manchester United couldn't stop him from kind of doing it. The article then goes on to sort of say, so United could United sack Greenwood before a trial takes place? Because theoretically, the trial could be 6 months, a year away. Like, what do Man United do in that kind of time period? This is what's crazy. So this is where a lot of people are asking for Man United to completely cut ties. United have to look at this from many angles. He goes on to say here that if they were to sack him from a PR perspective, irrespective of that, all Greenwood has to do to maintain his income is appeal it. As soon as he appeals, Man United have no legal grounds but to re-employ him again.
That's insane.
So it's Man United are a little. I mean, it's a lot more complex than that and everything else. But it's a lot of this is now coming out, and I think clubs and I think a lot of brands are looking to distance themselves. I think Man United, in their heart of hearts, would love to be able to walk away. But of course, what Man United are not going to want to do is act in a way where they end up costing themselves tens of millions of pounds in legal fees and maybe fines, even if they're right to, because if Greenwood does lose all his income now, he's going to be looking for someone to mess up so that he can get money. Like, that's just exactly what's going to happen here. So yeah, I'm not surprised to see Nike drop him. I think the rest will follow suit very soon. And the hope is that you know, that Manchester United go out their way to do it. But yeah, I am starting to see now murmurings of like player here, and I saw something trending earlier, and it was like a screenshot from something talking about actually what really went on, and Mason didn't do this, and I've heard Gal was on the other day saying that like the victim is now refollowing Greenwood on socials again, and I'm just sort of like, I don't know, man. People almost, I don't know. It's almost like certain. I'm not putting a Gal in this category. I'm saying it feels like certain people are trying to start setting up a narrative now to try and forgive, and I'm almost like, it's weird to me.
The thing is, yeah, like I've never been in a relationship like that, but I could imagine that number one, that girl was petrified. Yeah, but number two, that's not the first time he's done it. So if it's not the first time he's done it, she's took him back already. Hence why it happened again. So it wouldn't surprise me if they end up getting back together.
No, I totally agree that could happen. You know, these things can often work that way.
The thing is, it's a control thing, and she might genuinely be in love with him. Who knows? Yeah, but at the same time,
Stockholm syndrome's real, though, isn't it? Like, Stockholm syndrome is a real real thing. But the reason it needs to be taken seriously is we had so many things come out in the last few days. You've had Avram Grant. Have you heard about Avram Grant's?
No.
Avram Grant, and I mean, I'm not going to get these in chronological order, but things like women that are involved in football clubs he's been at have woke up and he's been standing there with his penis out hanging over their heads.
Oh my days, Avram Grant.
Avram Grant. You've obviously had Mark Overmars in the last few days.
Mate, do you know what? I didn't know about the Overmars whole story. Somebody put in my chat yesterday when I was live. Have you seen Overmars has left Ajax? I said, oh yeah, wicked. I'll take him at Arsenal straight away. Then I was watching Expressions with his brother. Yeah, and they were talking about it. And I was playing FIFA for a while. I was listening to it. I was like, I literally paused the game. I was like, what? I had to rewind it. Yeah. And I was like, nah, seriously, what is the matter with football, man? This is only the beginning. There is hundreds of stories like this.
This is all going to come out.
Avram Grant, you dirty old man.
That's the old bad. He is, and it's like, but they're not the only ones. I was just doing some research on it yesterday. There's so many around at the minute, and they need to be taken seriously by the football clubs. They need to. I said it last week, 2 weeks ago on the show. There needs to be a thematic review. They need to delve very deeply into football. And it's more, again, some fans don't want it. I'm sort of the way people are like, yeah, but I want my club to be exposed or to be made to be squeaky clean. And I'm just talking, if you've got a club legend who's out there, and someone messaged me the other day going, oh, listen, like asking a woman out shouldn't mean you lose your job. I'm like, but it doesn't. If Mark Overmars had texted a few different women over a couple of year periods saying, look, been getting on really well at work. I'd love to take you out for a drink, wine you and dine you, and maybe go dancing. I'm Frank Sankat, very traditional and old fashioned.
Dancing ballroom, darling.
Yeah. He wouldn't have lost his job if he got on really. If he had a drunk.
Let's just be real. He sent nudes.
Oh yes, but unsolicited. This is the point I'm making to people. If you're at work, do you know how many people meet each other at work and end up getting married? No one loses their jobs. How many people, like in my younger days at work, I got with people I worked with. No one gets in trouble. It is literally about it being solicited. You don't quit your job because you ask somebody out on a date. That's not a sackable offense. It's like read the room. This is
the thing is, it's multiple people. So maybe you could get away with one person not exposing you, but come on, man, this guy Overmars has been doing it to how many? Like, come on. Did you seriously think everyone's going to keep their mouth shut because it's Mark Overmars? If anything, that's a reason not to keep your mouth shut.
Mate, it's crazy. And as I say, if it was 3 or 4 different people that he was having relationships with again, it may not be so bad, because at the end of the day, there is no rule that says a man has to have one girlfriend, but it's because these things would have been unsolicited. Like, why is he still sending me this when I told him not to? Like, it's a crazy one for me. And yeah, it's so much of it coming out in the game right now. And I think there's going to be a lot more in the coming weeks and months. That's why I've said to a few people, I've seen a few fan bases kind of throwing a few stray ones recently. I'm like, listen, even if Man United were connected to none of this, I'd be keeping my mouth so shut, because it's coming for everyone.
Yeah, that's so true. There's a great comment in there as well. Where is it? It's just popped from Sean. It says, no openly gay men in the Premier League, says it all. Phil needs to come of age. 100%.
I agree.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, at the end of the day, like, why should you have to hide anything? I don't get it. It's 2022, mate. It's not like 1902. Do you know what I mean? It's 2022.
Mate,
like, you can identify as anything you want these days, and good luck to you. So why hide it? Yeah, and the people hide it because they feel scared to come out because of the backlash they'll get, because the majority will perceive it as something maybe completely different to how they are. And that's fucked up, man. Like, it's sad that people have to hide stuff like that. But what do I know?
No, listen, I get where you're coming from completely, mate. I find it's mad that it can't happen, but it's about people feeling like it's a safe enough environment to come out. And that's the thing. I love football. I love the sport, but there are elements of the game, the way things are run, where you just think to yourself, look, we see at our club, we've got a player at Man United who has fed millions of kids. That makes some people angry. Some people are angry with him because he does that. Can you imagine how angry? This is why it would be difficult to come out. Player comes out. He would be say I'm not going to name a player because I don't want to put. If a fairly high profile player comes out today, he does become a beacon. He becomes a symbol, and suddenly he'll get attention. He'll be in newspapers. He'll be in articles. If he goes for a bit of bad form, it'll be thrown back at him as you. We've seen a football player feed hungry children and get abuse for it when his form's gone off. We know for a fact when it comes to anything that is religious, that is sexual orientation, that is connected to skin color, it's going to be even more aggressive if things start to go wrong. So it's wrong, but I completely understand why players don't feel the sense of, the comfort to be able to come out. And I give you little comments people get. I only have to sit on here on a stream sometimes and say something like, your hair looks nice, Lee. And you get the comment, you're sus, bruv. What do you mean sus? What do you mean suspect? If you're saying I'm suspect, that means you think I'm doing something wrong. So even if I was complimenting Lee's hair because I fancied Lee, that isn't sus, because being gay isn't wrong. It's those little pieces of language.
Exactly.
But those
but this is
deep in the language.
The world we live in.
It's deep in the language and how it makes people kind of feel. And look, it is what it is. But
let's be real here as well, right? Football is a global sport. There's a lot of countries where it is perceived to be wrong. Yeah, we're having a World Cup in one of them.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So, and we get a global audience. So, hence why some of these comments are a bit off key. But
yeah, I totally hear you. Original base Annie here says, Terry, that reporter people went after, he seems to have been right. There are people in football who haven't been exposed yet, but it will soon come. Yeah, that Melina, I can't remember his first name now. Yeah. Terry, sus can also be banter, not serious. Yeah, it can be. But I'm telling you now,
see that on a screen, can you?
but I'm telling you now, there are a good percentage of people that does it. And look, we're not getting. I know a lot of people are saying that being homosexual goes against religion, and we're not getting in. Again, we are not getting into that. But I also know with most religions, I believe that your job as a participant of that religion is to not judge people. So you being angry about it is also against that same very religion. So we're not going to delve into it. But that's the whole.
We've covered every base today here, haven't we, Terry? We've done cats. We've done religion.
And now we're moving on to your religion. Arteta, big test.
Please. Can I go to the toilet?
Yeah, you can do. You can do.
I'll be 1 minute, mate.
All right, mate. No worries. Just when you get back. Owen here says, Terry, this is great. I really think the terrorists could dedicate some time to this. Sometimes in the chat we are cross some small lines, and I think everyone would benefit from more dialogue. Yeah, I hear you on that. I hear you on that completely. Roman Molina. Yeah, that's the gentleman's name. I remember. Lee will be back with us in a few minutes, people. Make sure like buttons are being smashed. Big shout out to our title sponsors today. Fan Team. Great app. Get it downloaded or use their website, whichever you would prefer. Terry, you're spot on. I'm a Christian, but I would not persecute a gay person. Well, yeah, because you've got no right to. And I'm not going to speak for all religions because I'm not an expert in any of them, but I swear it's sin in most religions to condemn and judge and be mean to people. I swear it is. I literally think it's the opposite of what religion's meant to be. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. If people that are religious, that hate things that people do that are not religious, follow their own religion to the nth degree, they shouldn't be angry and annoyed. I don't know. That's why I like being an atheist. The thing is, I'm an atheist, but then I respect everybody's religion. It's like, you tell me that you believe in that for that reason. I'm like, cool, you do you, man. You do you. You do you. Let's have a look here. Hey, Terry, who is the owner of the channel? Me. Thank you. There we go. There we go. Some people are saying in the Sikh religion. Let's just say here, I'm intrigued. As a Sikh faith individual, there is nothing in the faith that judges sexuality. So Terry, you got that one wrong, pal. Well, I'm not saying all religions. Okay, let me rephrase him. So some religions that do judge it. So the reason that you're kind of exempt from that, Chetan, is because your religion doesn't judge against it either way. I'm saying that if there's a religion that's against it, but a lot of the religions that are against it also have caveats where they shouldn't be the ones passing judgment. So it kind of circumvents it. That's my point, my friend. So I hear you. But everyone knew what I meant. Like, we don't need to go too deep on that, my bro. But there we go. Lee, Arsenal, Wolves. How are you feeling about this Wolves game? Because your fans are moving mad right now. Mad. Like, I'm seeing, like, let me ask you this question. I was told that 1 game a week was a positive for Arsenal. I'm now being told 1 game a week is a negative because you lose flow. What is it?
Oh dear, our fans do love to change the narrative to suit whatever, like whatever is fashionable at the time. We've had 18 days off by the time we play on Thursday, and I ain't confident at all. We've beaten them once since they've been in the Premier League, and that was when football first came back after the first lockdown for 4 months. They got a better midfield, they got a better manager, and they've got a good goalkeeper as well. He's decent, that goalkeeper, and we've got a striker that scored 3 goals all season. So, yeah, it's mad. It's actually mad. I don't see us beating them. I wouldn't be surprised if we lost, if I'm honest. And our season is finished anyway. It's over. Like, we ain't getting top 4. Yeah, we're not good enough to get top 4 with this manager. And now we've got rid of all the players, albeit a lot of them players I did want to leave. But to let them leave and not have anything in backup that's better than that, or to bring somebody in that's better than that, might as well have kept them until the end of the season. Like, let's be real here, right? If, I don't know, let's say Lacazette gets injured on Thursday, then who's up front? Eddie Nketiah. He scored 2 goals this season. Come on, mate. Yeah, when you look at Man United, you've got goals all over the pitch. Right, albeit you're not in great form at the minute. And you've got a half decent manager there who's not really a manager, but he's still doing a job, right?
Decent, yeah.
Yeah. You then look at Tottenham, they've got a better manager than both of us, and they've got a better striker than any of our strikers. So I think they're favourites for top 4. I said that when he got the job. Yeah, and I think they were on -7 goal difference or something when he got the job. I said they'll get top 4. I still think they will. I think we'll finish 7th or 8th. Because I can actually see Wolves overtaking us.
KJ said that recently on the show, and a lot of people kind of shut him down. But I think there's every bit of a chance of Wolves doing it, because they don't score, but they don't concede. And there seems to be an element of fear right now amongst a lot of the Arsenal fans that have been very, very positive throughout the course of this last sort of 4 or 5 months. Seem very quiet, very, very kind of tentative.
Yeah, reality's kicked in.
I think that's what it is.
Because let's be real, right? Yeah. Most of these people do not believe the waffle that comes out of their mouth. They're just doing it to get friendship online and look like a top gooner. Yeah, oh, look at me. I'm a real positive Arsenal fan. Don't worry, guys. We go again. Don't worry about the FA Cup. We've got the League Cup. Oh, don't worry about the League Cup. We can get top 4. Oh, don't worry about that. We've got 18 days off now. It's great. Everything's great. Really? Like, come on. Yeah, this is why they've all gone quiet. But if we go and beat Wolves 5-0, they'd all come out the woodwork again. See, that I told you it was great that we got knocked out of these competitions because we're just beating them. We're now 4th in the table. Yeah, and then we beat Brentford, then we'll beat Wolves again. All of a sudden, oh, yes, everything's great. Mate, can you genuinely see this guy doing anything in the Champions League if he even got there? He can't even beat Villarreal or Olympiacos.
I feel like for me, this is what's happened because people have over-egged what I've all said on hundreds of these streams. I feel like Arsenal have improved, but the improvement has never been as big or as profound or you know, as kind of defined as certain people have made out. I know it isn't the end of the season after these midweek games, but you could theoretically be back in 8th position. If you lose to Wolves, and Spurs and Man United win, you're in 8th place. And it's almost like that's being ignored by some people, which means pound for pound at this stage of the season compared to last year, there's been 0 league position progression. Now you're playing better football, you know, and this is what needs to be judged at the end of the season.
Yeah, did you see this against Burnley?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but again, I thought against Burnley, the football was fine. It was just not putting the ball into the sort of the back of the back of the net, as it were, and everything else. But this is what happens, I think, when you over egg and gash your team to a point of you're not as good as you said you were. Now reality is kicking in because you've been issuing these big, fat, dirty checks and you haven't got the bank balance to cash them. they're going to bounce. The checks are going to bounce. And the crazy thing is that isn't even on Arteta or the players. That's on certain fans that have been running up the mouth all season long. And I'm just enjoying watching the narrative change. And it's almost like all I've heard on 100 of these shows all year is one game a week makes us favorites. Now there's no flow. It's easier when you're in Europe and when you're in the league because you're playing twice a week, better rotation, people are fitter. It's like, what are you chatting about, bruv? Literally 3 weeks ago, you said the complete opposite. And I think it's a double-edged sword, though, because I'm calling these people out on day one. You're saying it's harder, so you've got an excuse if you don't do it. But equally, you get to claim it as an even bigger achievement if you do it. I told you it was hard. It was even harder than having 2 games a week. But listen, there's receipts out there. You man have been caught slacking.
There's a comment in this chat saying, do Arsenal pay you? I haven't heard you speak against the owners. Why would I speak against the owners? Because since they've been officially full owners of this football club, no club in the world has spent more than us. So why would I speak against the owners? The money's there. I've been saying the money's there since Wenger was here, telling us we were skin. Yeah, well, we're paying the stadium off. We can't afford to buy anyone. No, we weren't, because they paid it off. Yeah, they paid it off and refinanced it to themselves. So at the end of the day, this goes back before the owners. Yeah, it goes back to before we even smashed the stadium down. They all knew what they were doing. They all knew why we were moving to the stadium. It was nothing to do with competing, mate. It was to dominate a global market. Yeah, for shirt sales. Yeah, and sponsorship deals. That's why we moved to the stadium. It's nothing to do with competing with Bayern Munich and Barca and Madrid. Yeah, and then people would sit there and say, oh, yeah, but since the Cronkies have come in and this and that. Cronkies came in the season after we moved stadium. Yeah, and they owned about 9% of the club. And it was only until 2011, I think it was, that they then had a controlling stake. Since then, how many FA Cups we won? How much money we spent? How many times have we been in a title race? Yeah, 3? 2? Yeah, 2. 2014 and 2016. Yeah, and because Wenger decided not to go and spend money, yeah, we bottled it and we didn't win it. Especially the season Leicester won it, and good luck to Leicester. Well done to them. They fully deserved it. But if we hadn't actually gone out there and done business, we would have won the league. Yeah, so it would have been a totally different narrative, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's the same as when people talk about George Graham. Oh, yeah, but he managed Tottenham. Well, it weren't like he left Arsenal. He got sacked. Yeah, and then he went to Leeds. Then he went to Tottenham. What's he supposed to do? Sit at home and not get paid? But it's all right when Sol Campbell comes from Tottenham to Arsenal, though, isn't it? Because it's the other way around. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, but George Graham, he's a snake. Yeah, people don't even understand how good a manager that guy was. He was one game, yeah, one loss in 91. That's all we lost. And we had 3 of our back 4 out that day and lost 2-1 to Chelsea. There's all this invincible era, yeah, could have and probably should have been George Graham first. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, and the football that season was insane. Yeah, mate, that season was sick. Yeah, but this is the thing. It's like a majority of our fans online started supporting this club because of Thierry Henry and Arsene Wenger. Yeah, and it's like they sit there and they just go down, oh, but Wenger's a genius, Wenger this, Wenger, oh, it's the owners, it's always the owner. Every time something goes wrong at this football club, hashtag Kroenke out trends. Well, where were you all when Kroenke was at the Chelsea match this season? Oh, yeah, you're in the club shop. Yeah, taking selfies at your second home. Like, just I find it funny. Every single one of these people that sat here all season, lauding up this manager, lauding up this club, right? For like players like, for example, Smith Rowe and Saka, making out their levels above what they are. They're making out every player in every position is amazing. Yeah. Well, why are we 2 points off 4th then? And why are we only 2 points ahead of 8th? Because if we're that amazing, we would have walked 4th, wouldn't we? We'd be miles clear. 1 game a week. Somebody said go support MK Dons. Bro, I was supporting Arsenal in the 80s. Yeah, MK Dons didn't exist. Yeah, it was called Wimbledon, and they were in southwest London. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on. What's the matter? Like, at the end of the day, I'll support my club how I want. Yeah, nobody's telling me how to support my football club. At the end of the day, every single person that has sat there lauding up this football club this season and lauding up this manager since he got it deserves everything that's coming to him this season. Yeah, and then what's their excuse? Yeah, because by then, his deal would have been signed. It's probably already signed. They just ain't announced it. They're waiting for a couple of wins.
Well, the new deal looks like it might happen. There's a comment here that says, Terry, I can't lie. It's you who changes the narrative. I mean, but I'm not making it. I mean, I'm making these people tweet and do their vlogs and their blogs and write their articles like this. H7. I respect you as a member, H7, but how do I change what they say? I don't understand.
You don't sit there when they're coming out with statements like, "Oh yes, Tottenham are rubbish. We're going to get top 4. Who cares if they've got Conte? We didn't want him anyway." Well, really? What, you'd rather Arteta? Come on, that ain't you changing that. That's them saying it. Yeah, I've seen so many people since this manager's come in. Like, I remember when Ancelotti left Everton. See, he did nothing with Everton. Yeah, he done nothing with Napoli. Oh, really? He's about to walk the title with Real Madrid, mate. So then what? One of the greatest managers I've ever seen. Then it's, oh, but Rafa Benitez, he weren't good enough for Everton. He got sacked. Well, he's still a better manager than Arteta will ever be. He's still got a better resume and a better trophy haul than Arteta will ever have. Yeah, so just because they didn't do it at one football club doesn't mean that they're not a great manager. Yeah, for example, Jose Mourinho. Oh, but he's finished. He's washed up. Who cares? He's won more trophies than Tottenham Football Club. Yeah, so when you go put your medals on the table, mate, Jose can just go, oh, well, I need to get the lorry to reverse. Yeah, come on, lads, get all them trophies out. He's got more than a whole football. He's got more than most football clubs. Same with Pep. You know, it's like, I find it funny when people sit there and they just jump on this hype of, oh, well, that manager fouled at that club. That means he's crap. What? But Arteta's better. Based on what? I just don't understand it, Terry. I really don't. I find it funny at times because watching these people sit on their podcasts, and on their socials, they're chatting rubbish. I just know they're chatting rubbish, but they want to be seen as a positive Arsenal fan.
I see that with a number of people, and that's what I think has come to fruition in the last few weeks. And do you know what? If you beat Wolves, if you win the next 2 or 3 games, the needle will change again, and it will be, see, I always knew this, and this has come to fruition, and the planning, and it was all part of the. It's almost I respect. You know who I respect in all of this? We're going to call an individual out, Curran, because from before the season begun, he said we're good enough. And these are our reasons, and this is why I think we'll do it. He hasn't become positive because of a particular win or suddenly become negative because of a few defeats. He has stuck to his guns from day one. Nearly every other single gooner that I've come across this year has changed. And I'm talking changed dramatically on a very regular basis. And I'll give an example. What I expect Man United to achieve now is different to what I expected at the start of the season because we've sacked and changed the manager. However, it's still a disappointing season because I think we should have been challenging for the title. So even if we come third and win the FA Cup, it's a disappointing season because from a league point of view, because we should have been challenging for this league title. I don't see that from a lot of people. It's, I thought top 6 and then I thought top 4. And I'm thinking, actually, top 8 ain't too bad because these other teams have been pretty. It's like,
and if we finish 7th, that's improvement on last season and the season before. All right, so we came out of Europe to do 150 mil to get in the Conference League.
It's crazy. There's a comment here for you, Lee, that says, would you take the Palace manager, obviously Patrick Vieira, at Arsenal?
I didn't want any ex-footballer of this club to be the manager of this club. Because this is exactly what you get. You get people that are blinded by sentiment, that just tweet and talk utter rubbish rather than putting the club first. Yeah, it says Arsenal Football Club, not Vieira Football Club, not Arteta Football Club, not Wenger Football Club. It's Arsenal Football Club. And Arsenal is always bigger than all of them, which is why when I sit there and I say what I'm saying, I couldn't care less about Mikel Arteta's career, mate. I genuinely couldn't care less. I care about this football club doing what it smashed the stadium down for. And that was to compete.
Mate, I hear
that's lies.
Bro, I hear what I mean. Look, I think Vieira, again, the two things.
He's a good manager.
Firstly, I just want to go back to that. I know Man United can't win the FA Cup. I was just being hypothetical. I wasn't being serious. It was a hypothetical scenario. So in my hypothetical world, it can work. Look, I think Vieira is a very good manager, but I hear where you're coming from with the sentiment thing and the way that, again, we see it with players and we see it with managers where the agendas of those individuals are put above the club. And, when it comes to Man United, it's like someone's like, oh, but what you want Ten Hag? What if he drops Rashford? As long as we get better as a football team.
Yeah, who cares? Why are people so attached to individual employees at football clubs, mate? I don't get it. Like, yes, you can like players. I like Riyad Mahrez. Yeah, I'd love him to play for Arsenal. I like Martinelli. He plays for Arsenal. I like Aubameyang. Yeah, I like Pepe. I like some other players at the club. Yeah, but I'm not emotionally attached to these players. Yeah, because I know that ultimately at some point they're leaving. I don't get why people are so attached to them. They have better Quit their Twitter as the name of the player. Like, what are you going to do when he leaves? Like, come on. What's the matter with these people, man?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you on that completely, mate. I really do. I really do. I never get that. I've loved players, but it's like the clubs always come for it. Needs to happen. But I think we're moving. I do think we're moving into a new era now, football fans, where it's going to be. I think players and managers are going to start to come before clubs on a more regular basis now. I really
They already have. They already have. Mate, look at when Ozil was at Arsenal. Like, come on, seriously. Like, that guy has more following on socials than Arsenal Football Club. Yeah, you said anything negative towards Mesut Ozil, yeah, instantly you're bombarded by thousands of people. And it's like, mate, you'll be buggering off with him when he goes. Yeah, because you came from Madrid, you didn't support Arsenal. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's crazy, mate. It really is. This guy keeps harassing me in the chat. Did you celebrate winning the cup? Yeah, because that was the aim of elite sport, to win the cup. Anything else is irrelevant. That's it. Why would I love people like this? Because they go, yeah, but you're slagging the club off, so you can't celebrate when we win. Why? My first game was 1990. 1990. Most of you lot in the chat putting this rubbish weren't even born. Yeah, and funny enough, we lost 5-2 to Tottenham at Highbury.
Oh, mad.
I know, it's crazy. It was crazy. Graham Ricks' testimonial. Yeah, but this is the thing. I've supported Arsenal since I was a little kid. Yeah, and it's like, I'm lucky, touch wood, luckily, I have seen us win 17 trophies. Yeah, luckily, I've seen football when it was proper football. This ain't proper football, mate. Yeah, it ain't the game that I started watching. The club ain't anywhere near what I started following. You know, football, for me, in my head, was the 90s. Like the Italian league and, like, you know, them great teams out there. And then the start of the Premier, like, obviously the start of the Premier League in the 90s. And then obviously up to maybe 2000 odd, 2006. After that, it's been pretty dead. Yeah, all the rule changes. You touch a player, they fall over, like literally just drop. Yeah, you can't tackle anymore. The art of defending's gone now. You've got all these kids saying, oh, it's boring, he parks the bus. No, it's called good defending, mate. No, I don't want... the amount of people I've seen say to me when I've done streams, and I've said, I'll take Simeone at Arsenal in a heartbeat. Yeah, that's the kind of geezer we need at our football club. Oh, but he plays boring football. It's anti-football. No, it ain't. His teams know how to defend and they win. Yeah, they win. How can that guy go against the two biggest clubs in the world and break that dominance? How? Because he's a quality manager. You know, and let's be real, Atletico Madrid didn't have the resources that they had, because in that league, the way the money was split up for TV, mainly, I think 95% of it went to Madrid and Barca. The other 5% got divvied up between the rest of them. So for him to go in there and compete and win what he has won at that football club, mate, I'd take him at Arsenal in a heartbeat. He is such a sick manager, man. I know he's not having a great season this season, but
yeah, but he has
won the league last year.
I hear you 100%. Viewers, thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure like buttons have been smashed. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Lee, absolute pleasure as always.
Thanks, mate.
As always,
you having me on.
We're back live after Burnley versus Manchester United tonight, so make sure you stay with the Terrace. Until then, take care. Goodbye.
Yes.